Okay, morning everyone. Welcome to the daily briefing for Lasham on Saturday the 23rd. So, been watching this sort of picture over the last day or so. I guess the chart here looks worse than it did sort of 24, 36 hours ago. But actually, when you look at the real data, I think this is going to represent stuff going across the sort of North Midlands, really. There's no serious evidence of rain out to the southwest of us on that front, and it's not really going to get here till later. This sort of wiggling front and developing low pressure is what's going to come across us tomorrow. But today, I think we're reasonable air mass, reasonable direction, although it is slightly southwesterly, which is never the best at Lasham. But the isobars are well spaced apart, and there is a small ridge of high pressure that was developing overnight. Here, it's not lost its curvature on the isobars with the high pressure down to the south of us. So I'm positive about today, apart from looking at that chart. So what are the TAFs say? Well, Farnborough, 238 knots, yeah, light southwesterly, and scattered at 4.5. I think that's about right, looking at most of the data I've seen. The Gatwick and Heathrow TAFs give you a slightly longer term picture, and they're not particularly saying anything about the weather changing, apart from sort of broken at 1300 overnight and into tomorrow. Winds, yeah, again, 230, 240 probably over us. Stronger down in the channel, 20 knots, but over the centre of the country, 10 to 15 knots of flying heights. I think for most of the day, really, not changing even with the low pressure approaching us. So look at both the visual sat pic and the infrared. So that's about half an hour ago. You just play the animation. You can see bits of cloud coming in here. We're in a reasonably clear gap. There are one or two light showers just coming off the sea in here, but I think they die out when they get across the land. This small wedge of cloud here is going across the Midlands with some rain on it, just drifting across there. And the infrared shows small amounts of upper cloud, but nothing major, folks. I wouldn't get too concerned about what you see on the sat pic. It certainly shows there will be cloud today. Quick look at the rainfall radar, just shows this stuff going across the North Midlands now, and as I say, there's odd little showers just drifting off the sea, but they seem to be drying out when they get across the land. So fingers crossed, we won't see anything here. Doesn't appear to be on the forecast, so I'm going with that. Temperature wise, 24 degrees, somewhere around there, over this area over us and up to the north and the northeast. Obviously warmer over London, as it normally is, a degree or two warmer there. And dew points, yeah, they're showing here as the day goes on, the dew points increasing, hence the forecast of more cloud in the afternoon, building up, and perhaps a bit more layered cloud later on in the afternoon coming in from the west. But dew points somewhere around 10, I think, here at the moment. And it should stay in that sort of over us for most of the day. Soundings by midday, 1 o'clock, we can see where they're getting the 4,500 feet. I think the dew points are about 10. You're going to see cumulus at about 4.5 by 1, 2 o'clock. They're showing dew points down about 8 down here, and that's picked up on both Top Meteo and SkySight. again, it'll depend on where they go, but I think I'm working on tens and small amounts of cumulus. As the afternoon goes on, sort of by 4 o'clock, it all looks a bit wobbly here. Lots more cloud in this area, sort of 3.5 up to sort of 7 or 8 layers of cloud in here. And looking further north, a very similar sort of picture by 1 o'clock. Hopefully cloud base above 4.5 above sea level, out to the north of us. This is Bicester Buckingham area, but again beginning to deteriorate as the afternoon goes on, but not unsoarable, not turning horrid. Might be a bit of a struggle back from that area late afternoon. Top Meteo showing it getting going here. It's suggesting 11 o'clock. I think, yeah, it could be 11:30. We're looking at it going reasonably well here, and we're launching, and that being fine until sort of 1-2 o'clock, and then starting to see some influence, the changing dew points and increasing cloud from the west. I'm not sure it's going to be quite as dramatic as that, folks. I still think it'll be soarable in here, and I think the warm front might be a bit further away, looking at the current rainfall radar. But certainly by 3-4 o'clock, we're tucked down here somewhere. Should be still soarable up to Oxford. Their cloud amounts. That's 11 o'clock. They're showing it blue in here. Not entirely convinced about that. I think we will see cumulus. I can't believe the approaching warm front that the dew points are going to be so dry here that we're going to not have cumulus, and then suddenly we're going to get overcast and thicker layer of cloud here. So the suggested distance on Top Meteo is either out towards London and the southeast. I don't think it's going to be possibly to get round the corner here, or out towards Oxford into Cambridgeshire, and then coming back this way. Hopefully the weather change shouldn't stop you getting back here. Sky sight, a little bit more optimistic. Hydrothermals there suggesting around the 1400 meter mark all the way out here. This is 12:30 local out to towards Bicester and then into Cambridgeshire, and in a couple of hours further on it's sort of 1500 meters, so 4,500 feet. Still good out to the north, and not really deteriorating till much later in the afternoon. That's sort of 3-4 o'clock. The weather beginning to come in from the west, but still soarable out there. Their suggested distance, very similar out to the north and the northeast. So I think it'd be okay day, folks, to make something out of it, but it just depends on the timing of the weather coming in from the west. It's a bit of a guess, really. Just keep an eye on the sat pics and the rainfall radar. Okay, airspace wise, looks slightly complicated, but actually it isn't. There's not really a great deal going on. And I'll talk about number 15, which is Farnborough, and 33 out there, which is Old Warden. But before that, number 14, they've got activity at Middle Wallop. They're gliding there. Parachuting at Tidworth Barracks, but that's not until 8 o'clock tonight. And the rest are just either paragliding, hang gliding events and non-overfly events around here. And up towards here, there's nothing to worry about there. Husball's got gliding competition starting. Oh no, it's not starting. It was last weekend it started. So that's still running. And really nothing in here particularly to worry about. Number 42, Birmingham, which obviously crops up for the Commonwealth Games. At the moment, it's just a no drone fly zone within that circle for obvious reasons, but there are bits of airspace changes that may be relevant if you are powered traffic motoring around the edges of the Birmingham zone. Okay, so Farnborough, last 2 days of the bits of airspace, the big circle's gone now. All that's active is these areas here, area 5 to 9 on those, and they're active all day. I think it's until 5 o'clock. And really is not a lot different from the normal map. It's just this bit down here you need to be aware of, the 2.5 to 5.5 zone. It's active down through there. And Old Warden, just in case anybody goes up around that area, you've got air racing taking place from Old Warden, and that activity starts today at 12:45, runs to 14:15. Then there's a gap, and it starts again at 16:15 to 17:45 in that area, surface to 1,500 feet above mean sea level. It's quite low, shouldn't really present a problem. Maps of the Farnborough stuff are still available in the office if you want to grab one, if you think you're going to be going down in that area. Right, operationally, we're on runway 27. Grid's already set up. The winch launch point will be on the edge of the runway on the south side, and the winch will be positioned halfway between 2E and the main runway to offset for the slight southerly drift of the wind. Hopefully we have a reasonably busy day, folks, and I'll see you out there, and I'll be out there shortly.